CG Pete shares two images of Horseman art and implies there is something wrong. At first glance, the art looks fine. Upon taking a closer look, it does appear as though Horseman has an unusual amount of fingers on his right hand. We know that the left hand is underneath the right hand. Perhaps the inker or colorist made a mistake by covering up a line that would have made it easier to distinguish which hand the fingers belong to. Professional artist Mike S. Miller offered his expert opinion on the matter. As a 32-year professional in this field, I would consider myself an expert at knowing why stuff like this happens. I've had plenty of inkers misunderstand my pencils, and I do very tight pencils. I recall one instance where an inker mistook a leg I drew for rocks on a cliff. And then the colorist colored it that way, making it look like my character only had one leg. That got through editorial and published like that. And that was at DC Comics. Then a gaggle of retards in Comicsgate tried to claim I drew the guy with one leg, and I had to prove them wrong. This kind of disingenuous nagging and nitpicking just shows how petty and ridiculous people can be when they just want to hate someone. Great comment, nothing but the truth. Mike drew a black line to indicate the missing detail that was likely covered up by the inker. A case of the inker misinterpreting Joe Bennett's pencil work. Mike also illustrated the positioning of the left hand, proving it's not a matter of whether or not Horseman was generated by artificial intelligence, as some individuals surmised, but rather an inking or coloring mistake. Shane Davis chimes in, Rippaverse needs to hire someone to draw hands for all the books. Fact, the hands are the second place a viewer looks on a figure after the face. Why? Because they can convey emotion. Rippaverse has more than enough artists and don't need to hire someone to exclusively draw hands. One mistake and it's the end of the world for these guys. Ridiculous. The artificial intelligence narrative began spreading. That's AI, bot can't draw hands. Improbable that somebody makes these mistakes multiple times. My best guess is this is AI-based, at least for a first layer, so to take the place of 3D models. AI. Current comic artists are no longer drawing pages. Eric July is a low IQ, mumble-mouth grifter. He is not a creator, he's a shipper. His characters have the worst names in history and are blandly written and AI drawn, with 3D assets thrown in. Tell me I'm wrong, EJ. Proof of AI, in my opinion. Rippaverse now scamming their customers with shitty AI books. Eric July is just a con man. At least half-assed AI art is a step above 3D assets. Eric July released a statement. Surely people aren't accusing Joe of using AI. I can see where at first glance it looks like one hand with a bunch of fingers, but it's actually both of his hands. You just see fingers from the back hand in between fingers of the front. This is more obvious when you see Joe's pencils. We could have made that a tad more clear how this was inked and colored. We'll always improve, and we don't mind being the most scrutinized and nitpicked company in comics. We are glad you all are enjoying The Horseman, imperfections and all. There you have it, folks. The man has spoken and set the record straight. Detractors can't say anything now, but we all know their Rippa derangement syndrome prevents them from rational thought.